Did you know that any two people are 99.9% identical? That tenth of a percent is what makes up the diversity among humans and the field of genetics. So what is genetics? Genetics is the branch of biology that studies heredity and variation in organisms. I'm sure many of you have studied Punnett squares in some sort of biology class in the past. However, there is much more to genetics than Punnett squares. There are 4 subgroups that make up the field of genetics. One is genetically modified foods, which uses specific genes to make certain vegetables larger, tastier, and healthier. There is germline therapy, which is the removal of a faulty gene from their sex cells. There's cloning, which is making an identical copy of an organism by making a copy of its DNA. And there's gene therapy, which is similar to germline therapy, but instead changing faulty genes in somatic cells. Today we will be focusing on gene therapy. Gene therapy is when there is a faulty gene in your DNA that causes some sort of genetic disease. Gene therapists will replace the faulty gene with a corrected gene. There are 4 different techniques used for gene therapy. First, a normal gene may be inserted into a random spot in a human gene sequence to replace a non-functional gene. Second, an abnormal gene is switched with a normal gene through a process of homologous recombination. Third, an abnormal gene can be repaired by a manner of selective reverse mutations which return the abnormal gene to a normal gene. Finally, the abnormal gene can be turned on or off. Why is gene therapy necessary? Well, how many families do you know suffer from a hereditary disease such as cardiovascular disease, arthritis, cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes, Parkinson's, or cystic fibrosis? How many of you have received the HIV vaccination? That specific vaccination was possible because of gene therapy. And all of the diseases that I just listed could also possibly be prevented in the future due to this new treatment. This would be a miracle to these families because many of these diseases have no current treatment.